Good afternoon, ladies and gents, and I'm feeling a lot better today, so I'm going to ease ourselves back into things like an achy and swollen foot being eased into a slipper. My mate Simon, that's his nan's words, not mine, which I found quite funny. But yeah, this is the Church of St Botolph without Aldgate. There's been a church here since the 1100s. That was restored and partially rebuilt in the 16th century. Then come the early 18th century, that one was falling apart, and you ended up with this lovely church. There'll be more info in the description box. So I shall wipe my feet and then in we shall go. Take some photos and stuff. There are some very impressive memorials here. I covered this is a revisit, by the way. I covered this church when I first started the page. It's one of the first ones I did. So over a year ago now. Memorial erected to the right, erected by the Right Worshipful Company of Merchant Tailors for Robert Dow, Esquire, citizen and merchant tailor of London, master of the same company, and one of the customers in the port of London, who gave in his lifetime £352. Well, I don't know what that is. 352 AL, 10 shillings and 8 pence. Well, £352,800, 10 shillings and 8 pence. That's an awful, if I've got that right, that's an awful lot of money in those days. And this monument was repaired by the Worshipful Company of Merchant Tailors, Anno Domini 1675, Mr. Robert Malroy. He lived virtuously all his life and died in the true faith of our Lord Jesus, the 2nd day of May, Anno Domini 1612, being full of days at the age of 90 years, which is a very good age in those days. Very good age. I won't photograph because I did this one before, so as I say, I'm just easing myself back into things. Here was a statue. This is an interesting, a bit contentious one. Following the murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis, police officer Derek Chauvin in 2020, there was an immediate global response which highlighted structural racism both in the United States and the United Kingdom. After the toppling of statues of Edward Colston in Bristol, the spotlight fell on other prominent people who traded in enslaved people, who were honoured with statues. One such person was John Cass, 1661 to 1718. He founded a school in the churchyard of St Botolph in 1710. John Cass endowed it under his will to provide education for Portsoken's poor children. John Cass made much of his wealth from the exploitation and death of others in the transatlantic slave trade. It is estimated that he invested today's equivalent of at least £1 million in the Royal African Company. John Cass was involved in the management of the Royal African Company, which transported nearly 150,000 enslaved men, women and children from Africa to the Caribbean. There are references to John Cass in this church, for example, on the board to your left, which records the name of all the aldermen of Portsoken Ward as part of the history of St Botolph's, and its current custodians. We have a duty to speak out against the devastation brought by enslavement of human beings made in the image of God. In this niche stood since 1966 a bust of John Cass. It was a focal point, honouring him at the annual Founders' Day service held here. The parochial church council at St Botolph's without Aldgate, on learning the source of John Cass's wealth, which they petitioned for a faculty from the Church of England to remove the bust. We leave this space empty for now as a sign of the repentance that we had not seriously understood his role in the Royal African Company, and that we had not thought to do a basic search for him. We believe that racism and oppression are a denial of the glorious gospel of love preached by Jesus Christ, and to that end are committed to anti-racism, acknowledging that we have fallen short and doing our best to highlight and address the issue of modern slavery today. Well, that's a very noble thing, to remove slavery from any society. They've taken his bust away. I do wonder if they gave back the money that he left in his will and stuff, but we shall see. This is the font. It's a beautiful church, it really is lovely. You can see mosaic tile, very warm today as well. And here's the board with the names on, and his name will be there somewhere. Oh, this is parish priest. Sorry, no, his name won't be on this one. It'll teach me to read the top of the thing, won't it? It just gives you a zip through of all the parish priests. Yes. Here lies Thomas Lord Darcy of the North, and sometime of the Order, Knight of the Order of the Garter, Sir Nicholas Carew, Knight sometime of the Garter, Lady Elizabeth Carew, daughter to Sir Thomas Bryan Knight and Sir Arthur Darcy Knight. The above named Lord Darcy and Lady Mary Darcy, his wife. So look, these fine monuments. In the late Tudor to Stuart era, they went through a phase of showing monuments with basically like emaciated corpses, really, which is... Ah, look, this is where he'll be Alderman of Portsoap and Ward. There he is. Sir John Cass. I'll have a look online and see if there's a photo of the statue. And we shall see. As you remember, I went and covered the churchyard of this one before. Grave of Thomas, or gravestone of Thomas, I brought inside. Created in 1744, restored in 1891, repeatedly saved from destruction between 1939 and 45, and again restored in 1966 after damage by fire. As I say, there's been a church on this site since the 1100s. Hiya. Okay. Is it okay to take photographs and things inside?
Yeah, sure. And if it was a lift.
That model of the church used to be on some rather rickety table. They've remounted it now.
Oh, right, yes, it looked quite small actually. It's a bit stable.
Quite a few memorials on the walls over here.
I guess the person who made it donated
Robert
it.
Henry
To
Haddon,
the church, I did, yeah.
born 1854, died in 1909, vicar of this parish.
Skyline, you know, Skyline magazine.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
There was an article about it in a few years ago.
Oh, right.
Ah, this is an interesting one, this one. William Symington. He basically invented the first really proper working steam engine. Constructed the Charlotte Dunbass, the first steamboat fitted for practical use. dying in want, is buried in the adjacent churchyard, March 22nd, 1831. This tablet is placed here by the Right Honourable Sir Marcus Samuel, Lord Mayor, 1903. So he was an inventor and invented many things. But in those days, before the welfare state and everything, if things went wrong for you, they went wrong and there was no recourse to help, really. As you can see, the church is under restoration since my last visit, which is nice to see. Proper old wooden pews as well. But all this is going to be repaired and restored. So I do like to catch things sometimes in their state of happening, and I'm afraid the stained glass isn't as vivid as usual because of the coverings and things, but these are ornament and stuff. But you can see where it's all been sectioned off and everything. But yeah, we still get a nice tour of a lovely church. Stained glass on the opposite side to us is still very visible. Sir Francis Moon Stationer. I had ancestors with the surname of Moon in Dover and Deal in Kent. 18th century though, and I have no idea whether they're linked to each other. I should look really, but I haven't. I'll look through here so I don't disturb anyone. And as you heard when I came in, man was playing a lovely grand piano. It's very nice to hear. We'll cover the other side first, and then we'll do the altar, high altar. These are the other memorials on the wall. Pause to read any descriptions or inscriptions. You can see and this has had some restoration since I last came. They've done a nice job on this actually. Like this. This organ is ye gift of Mr. Thomas Whiting or Whiting to the whole parish, 1676. Here lies buried the corpse of Robert Taylor of Silverdale in the parish of Wharton in the country of Lancaster, the father to John Taylor, citizen and draper of London and of this parish, Beerborough. He departed this life about the age of 80 years, so they weren't certain about his age, on the 15th of February, Anno Domini 1577. Christ, Lord have mercy, in Latin at the bottom. A lot of the, that's just the parish office in there, and there's someone in there, so I won't film people without their consent, that's not fair. Here lies Sir Edward Darcy, Knight, and we saw his memorial on the way in. Third son to Sir Arthur Darcy, Knight, of the Privy Chamber to the late Queen Elizabeth the First. He married the daughter of Thomas Astley. Thomas Astley was one of Elizabeth I's favourite, but Cat Astley, you know, a great woman favourite, all connected to each other. Thomas Astley, Esquire, by whom he had 15 children. Sir Robert Darcy Knight, his eldest son, caused him to be buried in the vault among his ancestors according to his desire. He died at his house called Dartford Place in Kent on the 28th day of October 1612, being 69 years old. So yeah, there's a lot of history to these places, as I'm always telling you. Under this pavement lieth interred the body of Benjamin Pratt, AM. For above 60 years, late curate of this church, he suffered to find his days in celibacy and departed this life the 3rd day of May 1715 or 1515? Let's have a look. I think that's 1715, I could be wrong. A few humble pious words above. He desired he should be here inscribed. Well, I'll scroll you down and you can pause to read if you wish. There we are. And here we get the stained glass, as I said. A very special stained glass in this church. Sir Bernard Nathaniel Whaley Cameron, cloth worker, Lord Mayor from 1960 to 61. Sacred to the memory of David Knox, Esquire, many years an inhabitant of this parish, who departed this life June the 23rd, 1833, aged 82 years, and is buried under this chancel. He lived respected and died lamented. This monument is erected by his only sister, Catherine Knox, as a tribute to the memory of the kindest and most affectionate of brothers. Also of Mary Knox, wife of the above David Knox, who died July the 24th, 1826, aged 57 years, and is buried in the same vault. It's very clammy and warm today. I'm glad I put my sweatband on. I am sorry about the noise, but this is much needed work on this church, and I'm actually glad to catch it in the process of happening, because the living history part of my page, that's that kind of thing, we're catching something in the process of happening, and we will then be able to come back when it's all done, which will be something nice. And you too shall be pierced to the heart. Oh, it's not very kind, is it? Up on the galleries and stuff, which I'll show you in a minute, there is more stained glass. But this is a private area here, which at the moment is being used for the children's play area, but it is empty. I wouldn't be in here otherwise. Please do not sit on this pew. Well, of course I won't. Sorry. Of course I won't. What type of barbarian do you think I am? We're not up to the voices at the moment. Throat can't stand it. Grace Barwell, late wife of William Barwell, who departed this life December the 24th, 1723, aged 48 years. Also the body of John Barwell, son of the above, said William and Grace Barwell, who died February the 28th, 1752, aged 20 years. Also the body of Elizabeth Barwell, late wife to William Barwell, who departed this life August the 20th, 1750, aged 63. Also lies the body of the said William Barwell, who departed this life November the 15th, 1756, aged 79 years. Near this place lieth the body of, so they'll be in the vault. And the crypt underneath here was cleared out many years ago, and is used for other purposes now. Worshipful Company of Lightmongers. Elizabeth II Silver Jubilee 1977. Presented by Mrs. Patricia Brain, Senior Warden. The Worshipful Company of Lightmongers 2002. So this is the chair that Queen Elizabeth II would have sat on a Silver Jubilee, which is nice. And this, I know it's very old-fashioned, but doesn't that look like the most comfortable chair that you could sit in by a fire and read a book? Yes, I am way old before my time, I admit. Look at the details and things. Old furniture, and this has been probably reupholstered several times in its life. Will last you an absolute lifetime. Good Lord, I nearly fell. I nearly tripped over Peppa Pig. As the old EastEnders would say, get out of it. Could have had me over. Sir John Shaw Scrivener, Lord Mayor, 1805 to 1806. This probably may be, well, I don't know, if it goes over the 35 minutes it'll be a YouTube jobby. Or I could put it on in two halves. Near this place lie interred ye bodies of William and John and Charles, sons of William Polden of this parish merchant, by Elizabeth his second wife, eldest daughter of Richard Whitmore of Slaughter in ye county of Gloucester, Esquire. William departed this life the 10th of January 1678, and John ye 31st of May 1682, and Charles the 26th of August 1684. Memento Mori. And also the body of Catherine, the daughter of the above said William and Elizabeth Polden, who departed this life the 6th of November 1687. Unfortunately, they've put no ages. Thomas Bray, 1658 to 1730, priest, Doctor of Divinity, founder in 1698 of the Society for Promoting Christian Knowledge, and in 1701 the Society for the Promotion of the Gospel, vicar of this parish from 1708 to 1722. This is a newer memorial that replaced his original, and the reason it was replaced and so carefully done is because he is very, very, very loved and well thought of in this parish. He was very lamented when he died, so he must have been a decent bloke. I like these. I don't know if you'll capture it. It captures best when you move. All etched glass. You've got the sun, the dove and the sun, the dove of peace and the sun, rising from the sun. I'm not quite sure of some of the religious symbolisms, but they are there nonetheless. I think that may be the burning bush. I think that's what Carol said to me it was once. In grateful remembrance of our brethren who died on our behalf in the Great War. Let's cover this one. 1914 to 1918. I shall slowly scroll down. Focus on them for a few minutes. Please pause to read if you want to read all the way down. I will stay on them for a minute or two because they are our heroes and we owe them so much, don't we, really? I know I say that a lot, and it really, to me, isn't empty words. Like many families, mine lost several in the First World War. The youngest one was 29 years old. Engaged to be married before the war. Sent to Gallipoli in 1915, Royal Dublin Fusiliers, and that was a Winston Churchill botch up, that one was. And he died of his wounds. We don't know how or whatnot. And he's buried in East Modros Military Cemetery in Greece. Joseph Wanless, his name is. 1887 to 1915 he was born. His lifetime. Sorry to go on about my own ancestry, but I like to remember. I feel it's important. Sir Crisp Gascoigne Brewer, Alderman of Vintry, Lord Mayor 1752 to 1753, the first treasurer of Sir John Cass's Foundation, established in 1748 for his labours. See, Sir John Cass, let's be honest, right? It was a piece of work, yeah? He dealt in slaves. To my mind, that makes you the ultimate scumbag. I'm going to tell it how it is. It makes you the ultimate piece of filth in my mind. But he was real. What he did was real and was barbaric. Now, if you hide the things away and brush the story under the carpet, people won't learn and know by it. I think his statue should have been left there with that placard explaining what he did, so you can look into the face of a slave trader and learn from that. But that's just my personal opinion. I come from a mixed race background myself, so as you can imagine, my feelings are quite strong upon that. Yeah, and you can see like the lovely architecture of the scene. It's really lovely. The stained glass is one of the most special things. A minute. Sorry if I have to point down every now and then, it's just that there are people about. Now we shall focus on the high altar and then the lovely stained glass above. I'm hoping once the restorations are done that people might be allowed up there, because I'd really love to see the church from up there. Sorry. That's stunning, isn't it? It's really beautiful, that. As you know, I'm very partial to stained glass. There we are. And you've got stained glass windows above, as well as, and we are going to take our time to look at this because it's very special. So this one will be over the 35 minutes. I will put it on YouTube and then from there on to my page. But look, this is what they're restoring and saving and working on. And right directly behind me is a beautiful grand piano, which I am being ever so careful not to walk into or scratch. Look at that. That is stunning, isn't it? I will do it in a part 1 and part 2 actually, and then I can Facebook it as well. So. Detail is amazing, as you can see, and there's stained glass windows up there too. So let me get past that piano. There we are, look. I'll try and capture as much of it as I can for you. There we are. Underneath will be the Lord Mayor's names and that, but I can't see that through the banister railings, I'm afraid. Right, join me for part 2, please.